Hey everybody, just trying to get things squared away here. Give me 2 seconds. Hi, sis. Like I haven't been talking to you for a few minutes now. So once I get this going, then I'm not going to be able to see your comments. So forgive me for that. But I do have a new slideshow that I want to share with you that we just came up with. So this is going to be, we'll play that from the start. So this is Regenerative Medicine 101. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to take a few minutes and just go through and define what regenerative medicine is, where we are with it today, and talk about the state of stem cell therapy and where we are at. So that's the direction that we're going to go. I've introduced myself in the past. I'll do it again. My name is Dr. Brady Wyrick. I am a chiropractor, but I am not the one who does the injections. My job here is simply education and coordination. So let's jump into this. And it always, whenever we do these, I like to talk about the first regenerative medicine patient that I had, and that was my dad. And we injected him about 2.5 years ago. He had both of his knees were pretty much shot. He was scheduled to have knee replacement surgery. We did a stem cell injection with him, and they have not been an issue for him since. Just not too long ago, I got a text. I got this picture texted from my mom with a text that basically just said today's exercise was like 7 miles of hiking. Yesterday was 12 miles of biking. So he's able to maintain his active lifestyle. Is doing really great with the injection. So, and then just this morning, I took this picture with Cliff. Cliff is 79 years old and turns 80 in October. And he did not want to have joint replacement surgery, did not want to have knee replacement, didn't think he would actually survive it. And him and his wife decided that they wanted to do an injection. So we did the things that we're going to talk about with him today. And as of 3 weeks now, we injected him 3 weeks, and he's now pain-free. So we did that without having to have a joint replacement surgery. And we're looking forward to that lasting as long as humanly possible. So we're happy about that. And we're happy about all the stories that we get. And I'll try to share those as time goes on. So let's answer that question. What is regenerative medicine? The definition, according to Wikipedia, is a branch of translational research and tissue engineering and molecular biology, which deals with the process of replacing, engineering, or regenerating human cells, tissues, or organs to restore the established normal function. So if I were to take that and break that down, I would say that it is the process of using molecular biology to regenerate joints and to regenerate cartilage within those joints. But my real definition is this: it's the natural way of augmenting your own body's ability to heal. So the regenerative products that we talk about today, what they do is they actually augment your body's ability to heal itself, your body's own ability to create new cartilage, even with those bone-on-bone cases. So that's my definition of it. These are the goals for regenerative medicine. Number one goal is clearly we want to get you out of pain by reducing inflammation. Number two is we want to enhance the immune reaction, because a lot of times it's the immune system that's creating inflammation, that's causing the breakdown. So we want to get that to calm down. And then three, we want to regenerate injured tissue, where we could actually show you studies where cartilage was regrown in some of these cases. But ultimately, what we want to do is help you to avoid joint replacement surgery. So that's the direction that we want to go. So what I want to talk about today then is the 4 generations of regenerative medicine. We're now in the 4th generation of regenerative products. The first generation would be PRP. So PRP actually stands for platelet-rich plasma. This comes from your own blood. We do this with every injection that we do. Our medical staff will actually take a vial of your blood. That's the vial there on the left, and they will spin it down into the centrifuge you see on the right. And basically what it does is it separates the red blood cells from the plasma. So all the dark red you see at the bottom of the vial, That's red blood cells. Up here is your plasma. So we take that plasma and we can inject it into whatever joint. And basically what that does is that plasma is full of what are called growth factors and cytokines, or things that help speed the healing process. And those are really great at reducing inflammation, getting rid of pain, and starting to build the network of scaffolding that your body needs to repair and regenerate. Say if it was a torn meniscus, that PRP can help us get that process started. So PRP is awesome. Even though I'm putting it here as the first generation, that's because it's been around the longest. It's the best understood. It's the best studied. But we still use it to this day to help these injections get out of pain quicker, and to help to restore those joints and function. But it doesn't have a long-term effect like the exosomes do that we're going to talk about here in a second. So that's PRP. And again, if you're asking me questions, I will get to them. I apologize. I can't see you on my screen right now, but as soon as I get through this, we'll jump over to those. But the second generation of product is autologous stem cells. So these stem cells are actually stem cells that come from your own body. Your stem cells are your body's natural reparative mechanism. They are signaling cells that your body releases when you get injured. And they release chemicals that tell your body what tissue is injured and what it needs to do to restore those tissues. So in about 2007, researchers started using your own stem cells. So they would take them out of your hip or out of your bone marrow or some out of your blood, and they would actually concentrate those stem cells down, re-inject them into joints, and it works great. There's a lot of fabulous studies that have been done about autologous stem cells. The limitations are, number one, is expense. It is more expensive than what we're going to talk about today because there's more procedure that's involved. You do have to have some recovery time because they are drilling into bone to get them. So number one is expense. Number two is it is 100% based on how old you are. The older you are, the less likely those stem cells are going to have an effect on you because they're just not as robust as they used to be. And then number three, of course, is recovery time, which I think we mentioned. So that's the second generation product. There are other practitioners in this valley that do autologous stem cell therapy. It's certainly better than getting steroid injections and then waiting until it can't stand it anymore and then getting a replacement. So that is a good, it's a better place to start than that. But again, it is not as effective and it's more expensive than what we're actually going to talk about. The third generation product is allergenic stem cells. And when you do allergenic stem cells correctly, they're actually going to come from donated birthing material from healthy moms and healthy babies. And I think this is the biggest misnomer that I've come across in the couple years that we've been doing this, is that people think that stem cells are coming from dead babies or aborted tissue, and it's just not true. It's actually coming from the cord and from the placenta of healthy moms and healthy babies that have donated that tissue to science, and the labs will take that material, extract the stem cells, where we can inject them into a joint without a lot of fear of an immune system reaction and so forth. We did really, really well with this. But what we've now learned since we started doing this was about, I want to say 2013, but please don't quote me on that. About 2013 is when we were started using stem cells that came from umbilical cords for placentas. But what we've learned since then is that stem cells actually act as a signaling molecule. And what I mean by that is stem cells will secrete something called an exosome. So in this picture, this is a schematic of a stem cell. And these little packets that the stem cells releasing are called exosomes. They contain messenger RNA, microRNA, and so forth. And those materials act as signaling molecules to tell your body to create its own tissue. So all of the, since the first of this year, all of the testimonials and things that we've posted have come from people using stem cell exosomes. What we're seeing is that the stem cells, we're getting more effect out of the exosomes because they're more concentrated. So it's like we're doing more cell therapy for less money because of the concentration of these exosomes. And when we combine those with PRP, that's where we're getting our best effect. That's why we're having people, that are 79 years old that need a joint replacement, all of a sudden coming around in 2 to 3 weeks saying, I feel great, I'm happy I did this. And there's more of those stories to come, by the way. That's why we're seeing those, is because we're now using those exosomes. So we found that they're safer, they're more concentrated, and they're helping people get better quickly. That's where the whole exosome thing comes from. So that's where we're at right now. We're that 4th generation. We always do our exosome injections with PRP because it helps in the short term a lot. Helps to have things happen a lot quicker. I apologize, having a hard time talking. So that's exosomes. This is just an example of what regenerative medicine is capable of. So on the left of your screen is an x-ray of an individual who had a bone-on-bone knee. That's a 2.8 millimeter joint space from the top part of his knee to the bottom part of his knee. You fast forward to 8 weeks post-injection, and that number had had increased from 2.8 to 6.1 millimeters, frankly, because this guy was growing more cushion between his knees and getting more mobility, getting less pain. So we're seeing things like this on the regular here, and that's why we're talking about it today. So some commonly asked questions: does the procedure hurt? A lot of people just make up the procedure to be a lot more than it actually is. It's just an injection. So I can't sit here and promise you that it won't hurt. I will tell you that Sylvia, our nurse practitioner, is the best in the business as far as getting it, so you barely feel anything at all. Again, it's just an injection into the joint space. We use ultrasound guided. We use the smallest needles possible. The running joke is the size of the needle will depend on how nice you are to do us the day of the injection. How long will it last? We have papers that claim the state anywhere from 5 to 15 years. But the reality is we just don't know. So I don't ever make any promises about, well, if you do this injection, A, you're going to get better, B, it's going to last for 27 years. I can't make those promises because everyone responds differently. I can just show you what the research says. What should I expect? As I said before, a lot of people work up the actual injection part to be a lot more than it actually is. So when you get injected, it's an easy process, but post-injection, you do need to take a little bit easy, and we talk about that on a person-to-person basis because everybody's in a different spot. I've had elite athletes get right back to it, taking it easy, but I've also had other people that I want just resting post-injection. And then what about follow-up? The follow-up is this picture here. We do like to do a little bit of follow-up with our folks after we do these injections. What you see there is our Giga laser. This is a cold laser. When we use that in combination with shockwave therapy, the papers are actually telling us that the treatment that we're doing is more effective by using those two things. So we like to do those post-treatment. So there's a little bit of follow-up care afterwards, but not much. That takes us to the last question: is regenerative medicine right for you? Here are the factors that you need to look into. What's your overall health status? To put it frankly, the more medications you're on, the heavier you are, the less probability it has of working. But I've seen it all over the place. I've been wrong about that in the past. But we want to make sure you're overall just generally healthy. That's why we want to meet with you and just kind of talk about what your options are. What's your mental mindset? If you're coming into this with a mindset of, this is a waste of my time, this isn't going to do anything, I'm just wasting my money, then that's not the right mindset to have. You want to have what we call hopeful optimism, meaning I'm not sure this is going to work. I hope it does, but we're going to give it a shot. That's the best mental mindset to have. The financial part of it, the financial part of it, no, this is not covered by Medicare. It's not covered by insurances. You don't have to, or you do have to pay for it. Therefore, what I tell people is if the expense of it is going to cause you more stress, then it may not be worth it, just because and when you increase your stress levels, your chances of those cells working aren't as high as before. So speaking of the financial part of it, this is what the costs look like. If we want to do just PRP, we can get away with that. That starts at $750, and that'll just depend on how many areas that we need to do. If we do a stem cell exosome therapy, again, we'd always do that with PRP. Then doing that at one joint or one area is going to be $38.50. And that does include the PRP if we do those two things together, and it includes the follow-up care as well. If you add a second joint, then it adds $2,000, etc. So our payment options are cash, check, or credit card, of course. You can use your health savings account. You can use flex spending. We do have some pretty awesome financing that's available, so we can get some pretty small monthly numbers thanks to Mountain America Credit Union here in town. So those are the financial options. The next option would be let's just talk. Let's talk about your area of degeneration. Let's talk about what your goals are. what strategies we're going to use. And I got a tickle in my throat. I think I'm out of water. Oh, I'm saved. We can talk about the cost options, what the financing options look like. We want to make sure all of your questions are answered, and that your spouse is fully on board with you as well. And then, of course, timing. So for now, what we do offer a discount since you sat down with us today and spent your time here. But we will include the PRP with our exosomes. But the next step is we actually schedule your consultation. So you either need to call us, or I'm about to give you a link that you can schedule this online. Let me end that screen share there. And let me bounce over here and grab a link for you. I'll put it in the comment section. So I see that nobody has any questions. That's great. But if you get them in the future, please don't hesitate to reach out and ask. Let me copy this link and come back. I'm going to put it up right here. You guys have been awesome. I appreciate the love. And if we can have you, or if we can help you in the future, please let us know. So thanks a lot, and we'll see you guys on the next video. See you next Tuesday. We'll be right here. Thank you.